Hello everyone, a very good afternoon and welcome to Mugello and welcome to the 2024 season of the Ferrari Challenge. The first race of our European season is about to get underway, and it is for our Coppa Shell drivers who will be taking to the track. There are some 16 Coppa Shell drivers, and there are a further 10 or so drivers of last year's 488 car. And the Shell drivers will be driving the new 296. Bit of cloud cover around, as you can see, as we kick off our 2024 season here in Tuscany in Italy. And from here, we will be moving to a brand new circuit. Details of our calendar to come in just a moment's time. And as you can see, a little bit of grey cloud forming just above us here. Hopefully that stays away. As promised, here's the calendar in full. We're here in Mugello. We move to Balaton in Hungary for round 2. Then it is Jerez for round 3. Portimao in Portugal for round 4, ahead of La Casale. And then into Germany with the Nürburgring at the beginning of September. And then Imola in October. So that's what we're looking forward to with this fantastic season in 2024. Here are the weather conditions as of right now. Track temperature 28 degrees, the air temperature 18, 57% humidity, and just a flutter of wind of no more than 3 kilometers per hour. That's the way it's looking. So, as I mentioned then, we are driving a brand new car this year. It is the Ferrari 296. It is a truly awesome car, and a racing car that every driver has climbed out of, smiling from ear to ear. They absolutely love this car. Brilliant stuff. So let's take a look at what the car looks like then out there on track. The Ferrari 296 here in Mugello. So then, revolutionary, 6-cylinder for the first time in the Ferrari Challenge, this 296 car, which develops some incredible 700 HP. And a lot of innovations in this car, including the fact that for the first time in the Ferrari Challenge, it's brake-by-wire, which every driver is telling me is something that really takes some getting used to when you've not been used to it. So this car, magnificent, and as I say, every single driver that climbs out of this car smiling from ear to ear, absolutely loving the car. And we have a lot of them down there on the track, as you can see, for the first race of 2024. Delighted to be able to welcome alongside me top racing driver and proud to say good friend of mine, Timo Glock. Good afternoon, Timo.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great pleasure.
After 25 years now, the very first time that we both do commentary a Ferrari Challenge race, so really looking forward to it.
And may I say, Timo, for the first time a Ferrari Challenge driver, and to heck with the rules, as far as I'm concerned from qualifying, you put that car on pole position, Fred.
Yeah, even so it was super tight and we were a bit unlucky with the red flag, which just came out when I was out on new tires and preparing the tires. They were spot on in terms of tire pressure and temperature, and then the red flag came out. But still, put it on pole. But unfortunately, when the red flag was out, we were standing in the fast lane of the pit lane so that I can go out straight away when it's green again. And we adjusted the tire pressure quickly, and apparently this is not allowed. We didn't know. Didn't read the rule book proper, I would say.
Okay.
Because in the race it's allowed, but not in qualifying. So we just got a 2-place penalty, and I need to start from P3.
So that means, Timo, this afternoon in your Trofeo Pirelli race, you're going to do some overtaking for us.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try very hard to put the Ferrari on top of the podium. But it's gonna be not easy. The other guys are really quick. I mean, Luca Ludwig, Philippe Baron, they were super quick. So let's see how it goes in race.
Timo, this car every driver, honestly, that I have spoken to when I was in Coppa last weekend for the first round of the North American Series here in Europe, here in Mugello, everyone is saying this is an awesome car to drive.
It is absolutely. It's a big step forward to the 488 challenge from last year in every aspect. I mean, I drove it a couple of times because I was coaching actually the driver who normally drives my car, or the car I'm driving, let's say like this. But he was not fit enough, so he asked me to, let's say, drive the car before it's just standing around here. And of course, I said on Wednesday morning, he called me up and said, of course, I can drive it. And I jumped in on Thursday without having one lap in the car. It was wet on Thursday all day long. Jumped in and felt after 3 laps at home. I mean, it was very easy to understand the car, very easy to know what it needs and what it doesn't like, let's say.
Yes.
And so, very easy to adapt. And this is, for amateur drivers who just come into the series, is that makes life easier. I mean, if you have a car which you don't know really how to handle it, it's a lot more difficult. And I think for everyone, it's very easy to understand. The only maybe sort of first moment where you need to get used to is the brake system, which because it's very aggressive. It's the stopping power of this car is super impressive. And this you need to get used to it if you never felt it before. But this is very quickly done.
For me, I know you and I have chatted over the course of the weekend, and it came as a really nice surprise when I saw you here, and that is the fact that you are driving a car with the Prancing Horse logo, which is something special, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. I mean, everyone was saying like it is special if you drive a Ferrari. I never experienced it before, and when you put the suit on for the first time, it feels different.
Well, we are delighted we're with you, Timo, and we're not far away from the race getting underway. So there we are. The grid is being cleared. Timo, of course, will be driving this afternoon in the Trofeo Pirelli race and driving car number 17. Why 17, Timo?
Because actually when they called me up that I got to drive the car, they asked me what number I want, and then I was asking my kids, because they were sitting next to me, what car number should Daddy use? And they said, my son said straight away 17 because it's my birthday. So we decided together it's the 17th, his birthday. Here we go.
And as if by magic, Timo.
Yes.
You at your finest.
And so that's the reason why I have the 17.
Okay, and you certainly propelled it around this Mugello circuit to good effect during qualifying today. Mugello circuit, just before we get to the race start, it's a tricky one to nail, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's first of all up and down, a couple of blind corners like Arrabbiata 1 and 2 is a bit of a tricky one, but when you get used to it, when you get into the flow, it's just an awesome track, and every lap is just so enjoyable. I mean, I did it in different cars, in GT3 cars, now in the challenge car, and it's impressively quick. So good fun to drive.
Thank you, Timo. We'll be hearing more from Timo as he can spare as much time as he can with us on the air this afternoon. And we are about to go racing then. A reminder to you, these are Coppa Shell drivers, and there are also some Ferrari 488 drivers in the mix as well. The Richard Mills safety car leads the cars away then, and we will bring you the grid in full for the first race here in Europe as Oliver Behrman is up there able to wave the flag, and what a treat it is for that young man. And here we go then, going from row 1, P1. Alexander Nussbaum, a pole position alongside him, Tibor Valent, Manuela Gosner and Henry Hassid. A welcome return to Henry Hassid. They go from row 2. Von Skeltermar and Thomas Loflad both could be danger drivers from P5 and 6. It's John Dillon and Andreas Rizzi who are going P7 and P8. James Wyland goes from P9 with Motohiko Isasaki, last year's Coppa Shalom champion, going from P10. Pierluigi Alessandri and Murad Kuhadaroglu are on the next row, ahead of Christoph Herny and Willem van der Vorm, P13 and 14. It's Ray Acosta and Ken Abe who are going from 15th and 16th place, before we get into our 488 drivers of Fabrizio Fontana and Christian Kinch. Then it's Tommy Lindroth and Pino Frascaro. They are ahead of Alexei Komarov and Vincenzo Gabino. They are P21 and P22, with Germano Salernitano and Ivan David Mari going from P23 and P24. 12 rows of fantastic racing cars here on the 5.245 kilometer Mugello circuit. We have 14 turns in prospect. 6 of them are left-handers, 8 of them are right-handers. Sector 1 contains 3 of the total turns. Sector 2, 6. Sector 3, 5. We are just under an hour or so from Florence, in a beautiful part of the Tuscan countryside in Italy. And as Timo has said to us, it's pretty undulating, and you go uphill and down dale, as they say in UK parts. And we are getting ready for the very first European Ferrari Challenge race for 2024. Keep your eyes on Manuel Agostina. They're going from P3 on the grid, driving for a brand new team. It's the Reparto Corsa Ram team, which happens to be run by her partner, Giorgio Senagiotto, who's a fine driver in his own right, so puts Manuela under some pressure because he acts as driver coach to her as well. So drivers are being invited to form up into grid formation side by side. The Richard Mills safety car will peel off into the pit lane as it has gone through the final turn in just a few moments' time. Then it will be race 1. We throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen so that you can see exactly what the driver sees as well. So 488 cars, you can distinguish those. They have the blue strip across the top of the windscreen. Our Coppa Shell drivers drive with the yellow strip adorning the Adler windscreen. So Richard Mills safety car then indicating right will peel off into the pit lane. All eyes on the formation. The race director will want to make sure that all the cars stay in grid formation as they cross the line, and we get ready to race. 30 minutes plus 1 lap of Ferrari Challenge racing to come. Lighting gantry is lit up red. When it goes out, we will be racing. Drivers champing at the bit to get going here, including Von Skeltermar, Manuel Agostina as well. And already just a little bit of contact. Bear in mind, tyres are relatively cold. We can see some door mirrors have gone flying for a button as there is a challenge going into turn number 1. The drivers try and scrub the speed off on cold tyres going through the first turn. If we all get through turn number 1 and into turn number 2 unscathed, that will be brilliant work from all of our drivers. So Tibor Valint then, who got the better of Alexander Nussbaumer right at the start of the race, with Henry Hassid running P3. He's got the better of Manuel Agostina. And John Dillon is running in P5 at the moment. So actually, Timo Glock, that wasn't a bad start.
Yeah, that was quite a good one to watch. I mean, for me, good to know what I have to do in the race later on. Yeah, some door banging already, some bits and pieces flying off the car. Unfortunately, Manuela lost 2 places. One guy in the grid, in the gravel now, lost a couple of spots. So, as you said, with cold tires, it's not easy to handle the first couple of laps to get some temperature in the front tires. But so far, everything looks kind of settled at the moment.
Does it take longer to get the tyres into the front and the rears? There's an imbalance there, isn't there? You know, you want all 4 tyres up to the same temperature, but of course the rate of which you can increase the temperature in those tyres is different front to rear.
Yeah, I mean, with the 700 horsepower, you just get easier the rear tyres to work, and especially the heat is more in the rear of the car. And it's a bit harder to get the front tyres to work. You know, you can try that with the brakes to keep the brakes dragging, let's say, in the warm-up lap, and get some heat in the front tires, in the front brakes. But in general, you have a bit of more understeer in the first couple of laps, and then throughout the race, I think the rear gonna degrade a bit more because the track surface is very rough here in Mugello, and all those long speed corners, long high-speed corners, they use quite a lot the rear tire.
It was a big save from Murat Kuhadaroglu, who we saw into the gravel. He only lost 2 places, but you can see the top 3 Tibor Valent and Alexander Nussbaumer and Henry Hassid have broken away a bit from John Dillon and Manuel Agostner, the two cars that you can see centre shot now. John Dillon, who is, in my opinion, one of the most improved drivers in the Ferrari Challenge, being coached by Sean Doyle, and he is heading Manuel Agostner at the moment. The top three, Tibor Valent, Alexander Nussbaumer and Henry Hassid. Let's get a live gap between Hassid, or rather between John Dillon and Manuel Agostner. It's going to be minuscule. There is von Skeltema, who's coming under pressure from James Wyland, who's currently tracking in P7, ahead of the returning Muhat Kuhadaroglu, returning to the challenge and also returning to the track after his little excursion into the gravel. And they are ahead of Ray Acosta, who is running in P10 at the moment. But Tibor Valent has got it all his own way. He's got a margin of about 6/10 between himself and Alexander Nussbaumer running in P2. Then it is Henry Hassid in the 167 car that is running P3 at the moment. And those three really have broken away from Manu Gostner and John Dillon. So here comes von Skeltema and James Wyland. James Wyland all the way around the outside. And von Skeltema, is he going to be able to go through here? James Wyland, as I said, one of the most experienced and well-travelled drivers in the Ferrari Challenge, having raced in both North America, here in Europe, and also in Asia Pacific as well. And that series now, the Japan series, and Murat Kuhadaroglu, who is teammate of von Skeltema. They are both from the Kessel team. The Shark's teeth of von Skeltema. He's under pressure now to
yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of different lines possible as well, you know, to put yourself in a position now, getting a slipstream down the straight and maybe overtake into turn one. That could be a possibility. It looks quite close. But what I realize is like that the slipstream is not that big when you follow. So the advantage is not as big as you want it to have, because the cars are super low. It looks like not really draggy. And that doesn't give you a massive slipstream. But the track offers you, as I said, different lines, different possibilities to put yourself into a position to overtake.
We note already that our driver that's running in P3, Henry Hassid, has been warned with regards to track limits. The big track limits place seems to be going into turn 4, Timo, when you're going into that first chicane. That's where everyone just runs the risk of running a bit wide.
Yeah, that was definitely mentioned in driver's briefing as well, that turn 4 is one corner where they're gonna look on the inside, and then in the next corners everywhere, when you go over the white line with 4 wheels, then there's a track limit, and yeah, you need to really watch out for it. I mean, these two corners you cannot cut on the inside as well, as much as Manuela just did.
Right.
So I think there could be another warning for track limits.
Let's take a look at a replay of the start of the race then, and there was, as Timo said, just one or two little rubs between the drivers, and drivers just champing at the bit, trying to get out of position as the lights go out. And von Skeltema was one of those who wanted to dive through the middle, but all of a sudden that gap had been closed by John Dillon. And yeah, something to be said for the steadfastness of these wonderful cars, that the loss of a door mirror certainly doesn't mean the loss of your race. You can continue racing, and well, everyone jostling for positions, and this is always the worrying part when you're on cold tyres, Timo.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, braking into turn 1 is one part of it where you need to get it right. There's a big bump, and when you have cold tires, you know, the ABS system then kicks in straight away and unsettles the car. Maybe sometimes you see the off, which was in lap 1, but yeah, this is one part to get the tires as quickly as possible up to temperature, and Tibor Valent looks like managed to open up that gap with a better sort of maybe tire pressure at the beginning. Managed to get the tires better to temperature, and could pull away now for nearly 2.2 seconds.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. He's a very, very experienced racer, having raced in the Challenge some years ago, it has to be said, and returning to the Challenge. And his son is also racing, and will be up against you a bit later on in Trofeo Pirelli, and that's Benz Valent. Tibor now setting fastest laps, which would suggest that the tyres are up to temperature. He has, as you say, got that margin of a couple of seconds or so, and of course, Timo, he's got a completely clear track ahead of him, so he can just focus and concentrate on everything that's coming up. He hasn't got any traffic or other cars to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point is, you know, no one has a lot of experience with the car, so I don't think the guys did proper long runs through the weekend to see how the tire degradation kicks in. So this is another part. You know, after a couple of laps, you need to sort of keep those tires alive, and that's if you have a gap of 2 seconds, it's easier sort of to handle and to manage. So I think that is the next thing we need to see, where how the tire is dropping on the various cars today.
We've seen another couple of track limit issues, and one for Thibaut Valent. And from the driver's briefing that I was in with Timo, basically after 3 times it's a warning, but the 4th time you get a 5-second time penalty. And that time penalty is going to increase to 10 and 15 seconds, depending on how many times you get that time penalty warning, whether it's 8 times or 12 times. Goodness me, we can see the TPs beginning to, TLs rather, beginning to light up on our timing screen as Von Skeltermar now has Murat Kuhadaroglu. And yeah, so our race leader, Thibaut Valent, has been warned with regards to track limits. Now, thing is, if you're leading the race, Timo, the last thing you want to do is pick up a time penalty for track limits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever position you are in the race, and I would suggest that Thibaut will be well aware of that and will be keeping an eye on trying to make sure he keeps within the white lines. Yeah, 2 wheels over is fine, isn't it?
2 wheels is fine, exactly. And the most important thing now is the team which is in the pit lane and you know, seeing the warnings, because as a driver you never know 100% was I off now or not. And they need to keep you updated how many track limits you have. And this is another, like Manuela just on the inside cutting a lot. I think that's another track limit warning, so you need to be careful on that. And when you know, okay, I'm on 2 warnings, then you definitely need to take some margin and yeah, don't overdo it.
And does the keeping of the car within the white lines, I mean, we're talking about much later in the race when tyre deck perhaps becomes an issue. Yeah, it becomes harder to do that, but you're right, you picked that up. Manuela receiving a warning, and also receiving a warning is Motohiko Isasaki. So Claudio Garavini, who is the race director, and there's an example of the 2 lines that you can use through that final turn. Manuela trying to get a bit of a slingshot here. Yeah,
trying. I had a bit of a moment in the middle of the corner, had to open up the steering, but you know, you can either go higher and you have a wider radius and be early on power and take more speed onto the straights. But yeah, that's more than track limit.
Fabrizio Fontana then, who is the leading 488 driver. I remind you that we've got 488s driving in this race as well. Leading Christian Kinch and Tommy Lindroth, and then it's Pino Frascaro running in P4 at the moment, and Fabrizio Fontana being coached by Stefano Guy, who is a pretty awesome racing driver in his own right as well. But Fabrizio doing a good job, although he does need to just keep an eye on where he's pointing the car. So there you can just see Christian Kinch in the background as well. The order is Thibaut Valent for P1, Alexander Nussbaumer is P2, Henry Hassie P3. And then for the 488 drivers, it is Fabrizio Fontana, Christian Kinch, and then Tommy Lindroth. Just while we watch our race leader here, Timo, I know this is your first experience of the Ferrari Challenge paddock. I mean, it is an awesome place to be, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I was well impressed when I walked in. You know, from hospitalities, from the whole sort of organization. I mean, I walked in, got my race suit, suitcase, everything on top. I mean, I was really impressed with it, and as I said already 100 times, I think the coffee in that Ferrari hospitality is outstanding. I think I'm a coffee alcoholic at the end of the weekend because I show up every day. They know me already. One espresso. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Our first time penalty, 5 seconds, being awarded to Manuela Gostner, and I have to say, you were on top of that more than I was, Timo. So she picks up a 5-second time penalty, which, bear in mind that Manuela Gostner is running in P5. That's going to really hurt. It could be the loss of 2 or 3 places come the end of the race. Actually, Manuela Gostner is...
Oh, now she's overtaking.
Goodness me, so she's got past John Dillon. And thanks for pointing out, Timo.
Oh, he's trying to... Ooh, that was close.
She's got enough of a gap over James Wyland where she can nullify that time penalty. But actually, she's already got past John Dillon now.
Yeah, exactly. But now, what I could see, she was driving definitely a different line and pointed the car better. And I'm pretty sure she's going to pull out the gap now. which maybe then is the 5 seconds. But what she needs to do now is like stay away. Oh, here's the overtake. Hard to the inside. Really well done.
In fairness,
Nice
good racing room left by John Dillon as
Yeah,
well. I mean, he didn't
absolutely, yeah.
defend it too hard, did he?
Yeah. So the difference now, or the difficulty, is another track limit, I would say. If they're gonna spot it there, they need to tell her she needs to stay off the track limits. Otherwise, you know, she can pull a gap, whatever. But if she's every time, no, it was a bit better. Every time over the track limit, she will get another penalty of 10 or whatever seconds it is.
Yes.
So and then it's
grows,
going to
doesn't
be difficult.
A bit of a fight going on here. As you can see, there's a five-way fight going in on there, and Motohiko Isesaki is involved in that as well. You have Christoph Herney, Willem van der Vorm, Pierluigi Alessandri and Thomas Loflad as well. The first of the pack that we are looking at there is the Christoph Herney car, and another time penalty has been awarded, this time to James Wyland, who's running P6 at the moment. He picks up a 5-second time penalty for track limits. A dive to the inside there of Christoph Herney. And yes, 118 then, James Wyland picking up that 5-second time penalty. So Claudio Garavini, who is the race director, and I always say this as well, here we can see that is a fight. This is for the you've got the 136 car of Alexander Nussbaumer and then Henry Hassid. So it's a fight for P2 that is going on right now. Tibor Valint has escaped up the road to the tune of 3.5 seconds. So as another penalty is awarded, this time to the car of Andreas Rizzi. But where can Henry Hassid really put the pressure on Alexander Nussbaumer in your experience here on this Mugello circuit, Timo Glock?
I think that at the moment Alexander Nussbaumer struggles a bit with tire degradation already. It looks like the car is moving around a lot, and that means for Henry Hassid, he just needs to put the pressure on, show up in the mirrors, put him under pressure, trying to attack him under braking, and the best thing is, at the end to do it in turn 1. But as well on the infield, you can maybe try and attack a bit and put so much pressure on that maybe Alexander Nussbaumer makes a mistake and then he can go through. But looks like he's opened up the gap a bit again. Maybe there was only a mistake, which then you see another oversteer moment. Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting. As I said, the tire degradation is one big key in the race.
I'm really impressed with Manuela Gosner. She's nearly on the back of these two already. And
she does like a personal best lap time now, 51.9, and she opened up the gap already. 3.2 seconds to John Dillon, so yeah.
Here comes Henry Hassid again then. He will try and pile the pressure on going into turn number 1. Not sure he's quite close enough now. Let's see as they head in towards turn number 1. I mean, the lap times across the top 3 as Henry Hassid takes a look at the inside, but that of course becomes the outside for the next turn. Alexander Nussbaumer, for my money there, Timo, he positioned that car perfectly through the first turn.
Yeah, but he is really struggling now with the balance of the car. I mean, he's braking late into the corner, and you see the rear starts to step out a bit, and that gives him already the trouble already on the way into the corner, and then he cannot just position the car where he wants because his oversteer comes in, and that puts him under pressure. And Manuela Gosner is like 1.2 seconds quicker lap at the moment.
And of course, the more these two fight, it's playing into the hands of Manuela, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And you see the second car, Henry Hassid, he can just drive a tighter line and can position the car in a different way because Alexander is just having these oversteer moments and trying to keep the car on track at the moment.
Well, Alexander Nussbaumer doing his best to keep that car into a position where he's denying Henry Hassid the opportunity to wrestle that P2 away from him. We will see how that develops. Already, almost half the race is done and dusted. We've got 13 3/4 minutes left, plus 1 lap to come in this opening race of our 2024 season for the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell and the 488 cars. You can see Henry Hassid is really all over the back of Alexander Nussbaumer here. Timo is absolutely right. For whatever reason, Nussbaumer is having to be a tad more corrective with his car. Under braking, you can really see the front of the car compress.
Yeah, that was quite aggressive on the way in, very straight into the corner. And yeah, just had a moment again on the way in. So,
Do you get any benefit of a draft off the car in front of you?
Yeah, not as big as I thought it would be. I tried it in free practice, and you just gain in the second half of the straight, but sometimes not enough. I mean, you need to be really close to have a bigger advantage because the cars are super low.
Yes.
Low drag, and that doesn't give you a huge slipstream at the moment.
Christoph Herney and Alessandro, or Pierluigi Alessandro, are contesting this P12 place at the moment. Thomas Loflad wants to join into that particular party as well. I really have noticed around this final turn here where you can take different lines, and some pay off, some don't necessarily. There's Motohiko Isosaki. He won the Coppa Shell AM Championship here in Europe last year, and therefore has been elevated into the Coppa Shell Championship for 2024. And he is under pressure right now from Ken Abe. And Ken Abe taking a look at the outside as well. There you can see Motohiko Isosaki just, he did manage to scrub enough speed off and has denied Ken Abe for the moment, but quite a fight going on here. And Christoph Herney is trying to stick his elbows out for the Zenith Scuderia team and hold on to the position that he has currently of P12. Meantime, Timo, you've picked up something about Manuela.
Yeah, she's the quickest car at the moment on the tracker. She did a 52.0, 1.4 seconds quicker than P2 and P3, and even 3/10 quicker than the race leader, Tibor Valent. So she's on it. They got the tire pressures right, it looks like, and she keeps those tires alive longer than all the others. And yeah, she's not far away from P4 at the moment.
Okay, so Manuela Gostner then heading potentially to, take the fight to Henry Hassid. We will see if she is able to do that. The 144 car then, you can see centre shot right there. Right in the mix here is Pierluigi Alessandri, trying to encourage a mistake and provoke a mistake from Christoph Herney ahead. And Thomas Loflad, for my money, is in the gun seat here because he's going to allow these two to fight ahead of him and just try and pick up any advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just waiting for a mistake and then trying to stick the nose in. Yeah.
Tibor Valent leading by...
Oh, no, it's
that's Manuela.
No way.
So Manuela Gostner is off and she's stuck in the gravel.
That's
and I
it.
regret to say that car ain't coming out of there, is it?
Yeah,
No,
it's
so safety car is going to be called for. Such a shame. And there's Murat Kuhadaroglu continuing to fight with his teammate von Skeltemar. Von Skeltemar currently running P7. Murat Kuhadaroglu P8, but make that P6 and P7 as the yellow flag is flying at turn 2. But now that gets converted to a safety car.
Yeah, pretty sure if you see the replay, she was maybe on the dirt on turn in, maybe hit the grass. Yeah, she was in the fight and he put him on the grass. He put her on the grass, sorry. Not Manuela's mistake. I think that was clearly a mistake.
Oh, and here we can see...
you see oversteer by Alexander.
And that put Henry Hassid ahead, and now this is Alexander Nussbaumer trying to come back.
Maybe, yeah, he didn't...
He wasn't aware, was he?
He wasn't aware of her that being right next to him, so yeah. Put her in the gravel.
Oh, what a great shame, because Manuela was doing a really, really good job.
Well, yeah, really good job. Would have been, I think, in the hunt for the podium, definitely, yeah.
And you mentioned, and I want to pick up on that just a few moments ago, that you felt that they'd probably got the tyre pressures exactly right on her car.
It looked like, or she was like, because she was in traffic at the beginning,
yes,
she saved the tires a bit more than the others. The others were trying to open up the gap. The first 3 cars overdrove the tire maybe a bit, tire pressure a bit too high, and then you get into that circle where you can't really get them back cooling down again and get them back in the right window. And she was just the opposite. She was just trying or driving slower into the race, saved the tires in the first couple of laps, and now had more potential from the tire left.
Timo, you've been in this position 152 times where you lead in the race, safety car comes out, you've built a 3-second margin, it's gone, it's quashed. I mean, as a racing driver, that must be so frustrating.
It is, of course, frustrating, but that's part of the race, and you know that there is every time a high chance of a safety car throughout the race. So you need to prepare for that, and of course, I mean, if you had such a lead, you think about it, but at the end you have no time to think about that problem. Okay. You need to just focus on the restart, just trying to get a strategy for yourself, how you're going to place that restart, and then go for it. And I think Tibor had a good pace, so still a bit of an advantage over the other two, over Henry and Alexander. Yeah, going to be interesting to see if maybe the tire pressure and the tires recover a bit from Alexander Nussbaumer, because he struggled the most. And maybe he can find a way to have a better pace again.
We're not going to have a huge safety car period because the recovery team here at Mugello Circuit working very, very well and recovering that Manuela Gosner car. I'm looking at those grey clouds overhead. I wanted to stay dry when it comes to your race this afternoon.
It would be fun if it's raining.
That incident, which involved Manuela Gosner and Alexander Nussbaumer, is under investigation. It was through turn 2, and Alexander Nussbaumer, whom I know well, is certainly not a he's not an elbows out driver in that regard, and I'm just convinced he wasn't aware of the fact that Manuela was there. So that's just a very unfortunate racing incident. Safety car is coming in at the conclusion of this lap. 7 minutes plus a lap, as near as makes no difference, remaining. And here we can see just some of the cars and some shots from earlier on in the race, including Alexei Komarov then for Scuderia Prague Racing. He's driving in the 488 series, and this, of course, is the 132 car racing from Tibor Valent for Ferrari Budapest, and Rosso Corsa has done a very, very good job, and he's got to do it all over again to try and build that margin between himself and Henry Hassid, who has looked very, very lively during the course of the race as well. I like it when it comes to this conclusion, Timo, and I'm sorry to say this, but for my money, it now becomes a dash for cash.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you can do now, you know, is to sort of get the second place car on the wrong foot, let's say, you know, just in terms of reaction, playing a game, but Henry Hassid is super close behind him, and trying to get the slipstream, but managed it, has a car length in between, but Alexander Nussbaumer is very close. So maybe there is a chance for P3, but they are all over the place here.
It's John Dillon and James Wyland, and well, here we go. The tyres, of course, have reduced in temperature now because of the safety car period, but Henry Hassid was not able to take advantage of that, and Tibor Valent for the moment holds on to that P1 place, but undoubtedly Henry Hassid will be feeling that there's a great opportunity here with just 5 3/4 minutes and 1 lap remaining for him to convert what was P3. He's already got to P2. Can he make it to P1? Well, of course, that will be target and uppermost in his mind. But Tibor Valent is, for the moment, steadfast in that P1 position, and he will try and build a margin between himself and Henry Hassid and Alexander Nussbaumer. John Dillon back up to P4, James Wyland chasing, then it is von Skeltermar. Murat Kuhadaroglu ahead of Andrea Rizzi, and Ray Acosta driving well in P9 at the moment ahead of Willem van der Vorm. So just 5 minutes plus a lap remaining, and Tibor Valent is... well, I thought he looked vulnerable right at the very, very start, Timo, but as you can see, once again, Alexander Nussbaumer having a fight with his
He's just a bit too, in my point, just a bit too late on the brakes, and he drives or brakes too deep into the corner, which then unsettles the rear a bit. A little mistake as well by Henry, going a wide line. And yeah, lost a bit of space. Track limits for all 3 of them, I would say. So let's see if there is another warning coming up.
Yeah. Oh, no. We've got another car out. Go on, keep your foot in, Ray. Well done. Ray Acosta then making the trip into the gravel and then distributing it nicely around the corner, which is kind of not what you want.
A lot of gravel on the track for those 3 who will come. Oh, that's misjudgment on the brakes.
Yeah.
And lost it, yeah.
Well, I have to say, Ray, fair play to you for getting that car dug out of there, because that would have been another safety car. And with 4 minutes and 1 lap remaining, the drivers just need to be probably a bit cautious around that turn, though, with the gravel out there. But we will see, as there is another track limits warning for our race leader, Tibor Valent. This could become critical, Timo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know on how many he is now, but if he gets a 5-second penalty, let's say, he's definitely not winning that race at the moment.
No, that would drop him back to P4 if he were to pick up that penalty. But we're not saying that. We're we actually haven't been counting up just how many track limits warnings each driver has. John Dillon has one as well, and incidentally, John Dillon is running in P4. So we will see how it develops over the next 3 minutes. Do you really have to adapt your driving style towards the end of the race as another track penalty is awarded? This time it's to Motohiko Isosaki. Do you have to adapt your driving style because of tyre degradation and the fact that you know the tyre wear means you can't be quite as accurate, Timo, towards the end of the race?
Yeah, I mean you need to adapt a bit. Need to feel where the limit is. Is the rear the limiting factor or the front? Most of the time here on the track is the rear, so you need to drive differently, not braking as deep into the corner, not overstressing the tyre on the way out of the corner. Be gentle in terms of traction. Then you can sort of save that more. But 105 is.
That's Motohiko Isosaki,
yeah,
so he's running down there in P14. Well, you can make that P15 now in class. And here, leading in the 488 race is Fontana then, and Fabrizio has done a really, really good job for Formula Racing. He's got quite some margin over Christian Kinch running in P2 and Tommy Lindroth running in P3. That's the way it looks in the 488 category, with 2 minutes plus a lap remaining in this Ferrari Challenge race. Murat Kuhardaroglu, this is a bold move going into turn number 1. A good avoiding action taken from Murat Kuhardaroglu there as they continue on the way up the hill right now. So still plenty of action going on in this Ferrari Challenge race. Towards the end of it now, we are reaching the closing stages, and Tibor Valent has built a 2.2 second margin over Henry Hassid. Then it is Alexander Nussbaumer, then John Dillon, James Wyland, von Skeltermar, Murat Kuhardaroglu, Willem van der Vorm, and Willem van der Vorm has managed to get by Murat Kuhardaroglu. Tibor Valent leading the race, and car number 136, Alexander Nussbaumer, picking up a 25-second time penalty for causing a collision. That elevates John Dillon to a podium place. He's on track, is P4 at the moment. That would certainly move him into a podium place provisionally, with a minute and a lap to run. As we get to the closing stages of this race, I'm going to say thanks very much to Timo Glock and let you go and prepare for your race to come this afternoon. Thanks, friend, always. And if you're at a loose end tomorrow, having won today's race, you know you're always welcome to come and join us again. Thanks very much to Timo Glock then, absolutely top man, and he will be in a Trofeo Pirelli Ferrari Challenge race this afternoon. I'm allowing him to go and get himself ready for that. Murat Kuhardaroglu picks up a time penalty at turn 4 now, beg your pardon, he picks up a warning. So Tibor Valent from Henry Hassid, then it's Alexander Nussbaumer, who of course he's on track P3 at the moment, but he has the Damoclesian sword hanging over him of a 25-second time penalty for causing a collision, which has taken Manuela Gosner out of the race. And right now, Murat Kuhardaroglu does get a time penalty of 5 seconds. And that's going to drop him out of his P8 position. But I've been really, really impressed with the way that Tibor Valent has driven this race. He's had a safety car to deal with as well, and he's done so very well. And if he can hold it together for the remainder of this lap, plus one more to take the first European win in the Ferrari Challenge for 2024, that will be awesome. So, Tibor Valent from Henry Hassid, from Alexander Nussbaumer on track, but bear in mind John Dillon will be elevated to P3. And I need to go through the record books, but I think it could be the first podium in the European Series for John Dillon. He's taken podiums in the UK, but I'm not sure he has in Europe. That is assuming everything stays the way it is currently. There's our race leader, Tibor Valent from Henry Hassid. And Tibor, after the safety car, has managed to build himself a 2.9 second lead in this Coppa Shell and 488 race. Fabrizio Fontana has got a fantastic lead for the 488s over Christian Kinch and Tommy Lindroth. 2 podiums to come. And it is Tibor Valent from Henry Hassid. And here is Tibor Valent then, rounding the final turn and heading to break the timing beam. And to start the final lap of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race here in Mugello. So Tibor Valent then just got one more lap to do to hold this together and head towards the checkered flag. Meantime, there's still action going on aplenty elsewhere, and this is a fight that's going on in the 488 race. And this is for the 240 car. You can see here battling hard with Vincenzo Gabino, the Radici Automobili driver, Fabrizio Fontana P1, the 240 car driven by Pino Frascaro. Pino was a big feature in the Ferrari Challenge last year and indeed this year, and is one of the colourful characters in this, although I do wonder whether Pino is a lap down, actually, just looking at the timing screen here. Meantime, we need to focus and concentrate on what's going on with Tibor Valent, who's just increasing his margin still a bit further. So it is Fontana and Kinch and Lindroth ahead of Frascaro, Komarov, Gibino, Salernitano. Unfortunately, the only car we've lost during the course of the race, Manuela Gostner. A really, really unfortunate situation because Manuela was doing so well. But Tibor Valent has proven just how much racing skill and talent belongs to that surname, because he has one turn to round before he takes the honor of being the first Ferrari Challenge Europe 2024 race winner. He climbs the hill right now, heads towards the checkered flag. The hand is out of the window already, and Tibor Valent wins from Henry Hassid. Alexander Nussbaumer crosses the line P3, but has a time penalty, which means John Dillon is elevated to P3. Richly deserved podium for John Dillon. Von Skeltermar, by dint of James Wyland picking up a penalty, is P4. Then it is James Wyland, Willem van der Vorm. Then it's Christoph Herney. Then it's Alessandri. Then it's Loflad. You can see the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen changing, and the reason they're changing is because as they cross the line, any time penalties that are to be awarded get awarded at that point. In the meantime, let's big it up for Fabrizio Fontana for Formula Racing, who wins and will win the 488 race. He has one turn to do, and then he will head towards the checkered flag. Has looked pretty comfortable for the entire race long, with a margin of 9.5 seconds, and heads towards the checkered flag. The lights are flashing aplenty. As well done, Fabrizio, P1 in class. And Christian Kinch should cross the. Christian Kinch has dropped out of my shot just for a moment. He takes P2. Tommy Lindroth P3. Tibor Valent is already in the pit lane, and well done indeed. You can take a shortcut here at the Mugello circuit, which brings you back to you take it from the Savelli turn, which is turn number 7, which is why, if you're thinking, my goodness, he got round there pretty quickly, that's the reason behind that. Wow, what a race then to open our 2024 campaign in the Ferrari Challenge, and well done to Tibor Valent, and well done to Fabrizio Fontana, the winner. And there is Christian Kinch that you can see there, who's taken P2 in the 488 race, and there is Tommy Lindroth. That's going to be a really interesting podium, because Christian Kinch and Tommy Lindroth, same nationality, slightly different height between those two drivers, so that will be great. Here's Tibor then. What an awesome drive, I have to say. Really, really impressive. Henry Hassid really tried to take it to him, but in the end was unable to do so, so has to settle for P2 on his return to the Ferrari Challenge. P3 for John Dillon. As I mentioned, I'm pretty sure that's John's first podium in Europe. Certainly taken podiums in the UK, but he will be mighty pleased with that. So congratulations are afforded all round for our drivers. Of course, we will have a I try my best. You did very well. We will have a 488 podium as well. There's the back of Henry Hassid. Great job done by all the drivers. Our first race is in the book for 2021. Supreme race from Ferrari Challenge, Coppa Shell, and Ferrari Challenge 488 also. So all the reactions down there as Henry Hassie takes on some well-needed water after a pretty hard race for all of our drivers. And here's Fabrizio Fontana then. Stefano Guy, driver coach, is there ready to congratulate his driver. And here comes Christian Kinch to bring his car into the... You can hear the excitement of the noise down there, which we will try and bring you that if we can, because it's really, really great to hear. Christian will be delighted. So there's Fabrizio, well done.
La prima volta.
Stefano Guy, he told me to look out for this guy. He's going to do all right. And he has. Here's our race winner then in Coppa, Tibor Valint.
Tibor, congratulations. What a perfect start for you for this season. Can you tell us more about this race and your qualifying session of this morning?
Yeah. I come back in the Ferrari Challenge after 14 years. Okay, I try my best, but I don't accept this position. I'm very happy with this. And it's win in the first race is amazing.
And you have found instantly the feeling with the car.
It is a very good car. It's a little bit different like what I used 14 years ago. This was a 430 and more traction control. That car don't have a traction control. It's a little bit different driving, but I like it.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Well done. I'm not surprised you like the car, if I'm honest with you. Here's confirmation of the classification. Then Tibor Valint taking the win from Henry Hassie. Then it was John Dillon and von Skeltermar P4, James Swyland P5, Willem van der Vorm P6, Christoph Herney P7, and Pierluigi Alessandri P8. P9, Thomas Loflad, Murat Kuhadaroglu takes P10 with Andreas Rizzi 11. Alexander Nussbaumer relegated to P12, Ken Abe P13, Motohiko Isasaki 14, and Ray Acosta following his spin getting back to P15. So good job done indeed. Let's go back to Ludovico right now.
Fabrizio, congratulations for this race, a perfect start of season for you with the 488 challenge. So can you tell us more about this day and the feeling with the car and your team?
Oh, it's amazing. It's for me for the first time here. We start the new championship 488. I came from rally. It's totally different, but I'm very happy for today because pole position and my first victory. Thanks a lot all the team, the supporter, and Stefano is a good friend. He's a long time. We know him. He touched me all together, and I say yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Brilliant to hear from Fabrizio. He will be delighted with that taking P1 ahead of Christian Kinch. Then it was Tommy Lindroth taking P3, and Fabrizio telling me actually that he comes from rallying, a very different discipline here in the Ferrari Challenge, but he has mastered it. We will be heading up to the podium next, and very much looking forward to that, the Coppa and Trofeo Pirelli 488 podium. We can already hear the dulcet tones of Michele Mambelli, who will be inviting the drivers to take their places on the podium. And there's John Dillon. I need to check with him. I need to check my records. I think it's his first European podium. Many congratulations, John. If it is, it's richly deserved. Henry Hassid takes P2, and Tibor Valint will head to the top step of the podium. The former rally driver we will see on the 488 podium, but Tibor Valint is a previous challenge driver, and he's on the top step of the podium.
Il nostro applauso, our claps
well done to our podium placers then, Tibor Valint, Henry Hassid and John Dillon. And delighted to the trophies to be presented. Andrea Bertolini, the official Ferrari GT driver, making the trophy presentation. First of all to John Dillon. And Henry Hassid also receives his trophy from Andrea Bertolini, who's been not only a Ferrari official GT driver, but he is this weekend an official in race control as driver advisor. Tibor Valint then receives the first Race Winners Trophy of 2024. And of course, the team of Ferrari Budapest and Rosso Corsa, Andrea there is going to receive that trophy. Well done.
Okay. And please now all together on the first step of
all together on the top step of the podium. Hold your trophies up high.
Lift your trophy and
that's
smile.
it.
Okay.
Lift your trophy, smile, and the focus of all the media atop those wonderful drivers.
And after this podium, the show is not over without champagne.
Well, Tibor was quickest, I think, with the champagne bottle. Well done. And well done to Tibor Valint, Henry Hassid. And in reverse order, here come the cars that propelled their drivers to their podium places. For Grey Paul Nottingham, well done, John Dillon, P3. Kessel Racing for Henry Hassid, he takes P2. And for Ferrari Budapest, Rosso Corsa Racing, our race winner, Tibor Valint.
And now we are ready for the 488 podium.
Up next, we will be bringing the 488 podium, where we will be seeing Tommy Lindroth, Christian Kinch, and of course Fabrizio Fontana on the top step of the podium.
Race on the podium, Christian Kinch.
So Tommy Lindroth is there for P3. Here comes Christian Kinch, a fellow Swede, a slightly different height to Tommy Lindroth. And here's Fabrizio Fontana. Oh, steady on, friend. And here comes the national anthem. Again, we will call upon Andrea Bertolini to make the trophy presentations. Hang on, Fabrizio, not yet, not yet. You need your trophy first. To heck with the trophies. Kinch is on the champagne, Lindroth too, Fabrizio also. It's all gone to pot on the podium as the drivers celebrate even before the trophies are awarded. Fantastic stuff, look at this. Ha ha! Brilliant celebrations. Get back, guys. You have to have your trophies. Andrea Bertolini standing by. Oh, goodness me. Brilliant stuff. We have had a fantastic opening race for the Ferrari Challenge with our Coppa Shell drivers. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. What a great opening to our 2024 season of Ferrari Challenge. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.